35192 to text me. If you want to watch live, do that there at alancoxshow.com. Thanks to Clark Flamingo for helping out today. Mary's live in Chicago. She is at Zany's out in Rosemont all weekend. She's headlining on Sunday night. So if you are one of our listeners out that way on the iHeartRadio app, go see Mary's show.
Yeah.
You could opt to see her open tonight or tomorrow.
Tomorrow's sold out.
Tonight. Or it would be in probably your better interest to go see her do her full thing on Sunday.
Amen.
You see what I'm doing here? You see what I'm doing?
I see
This is her doing her full thing.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And Poundcake, just watching. The Cavaliers lose. They hand the Denver Nuggets another win last night, 115 to 109. You okay back there?
Sorry.
They will be in Atlanta tonight. Hey, Cavs basketball tonight on MMS 7:30 against the Atlanta Hawks. So 7 o'clock is when that Cavs Live pregame will begin. And then they'll be back here at home on Sunday to host the Raptors of Toronto. If you do listen on the iHeartRadio app, you can always leave us messages there, a little talk back button for you.
Hey, Alan. I was just wondering if you could enlighten some of the more recent listeners as to where the Bill Squire Friday Get Down came from. I absolutely love the energy, and I hate the show. Bye!
Bill, would you like to explain the Bill Squire Friday Get Down? Around these parts, it's how we officially kick off the weekend.
It's very simple. I came up with it myself.
Duh.
You did.
No,
That's why it's called the Bill Squire Friday Get Down.
The Bill Squire Friday Get Down came from almost as a tribute and slight mocking of the late Murray Saul, who was on WMS in the 70s, and he would do the Friday Get Down. He'd do these long, crazy rants. Maybe you can pull one.
It was the 70s when you could do that. And,
Yeah,
you know.
you can probably pull one up on YouTube, and they just be long. He'd like go into these weird voices, and mine was we play one that I recorded on a weekly basis during the 50th anniversary of WMMS, and then we're like, hey, why don't we start doing them live?
Yeah,
start doing them live. Had them sponsored for a while. Looking for a new sponsor.
Murray Saul was...
That's what you want.
He was I think he was a sales guy here at WMMS back in the day. He's been dead now almost 10 years, but he died a little bit after he turned 86. But he was best known for the Get Downs, and he would do on Fridays these long, like, time to kick your boss in the ass and that kind of stuff.
Your boss, you worked all week.
Friday! This week, the slave driver brought out his pool table, and we played the game of 8-ball. The only difference was that his balls were round, and our balls were square, but we banked our shots, and he scratched on the 8-ball. Ha, ha, ha. And we won every game because...
I don't know.
Friday. You know, they issued candles to everybody.
Yeah, so anyway, there's about 4 more minutes of that. And
which one do you like more, Mary?
It's been a year already. We've been getting to know each other pretty well.
Which one?
I mean, Bill's, because it's shorter.
Oh, it's gonna be. It is. It came. We did it. We did it. 'Cause we gotta get down.
Why can't you do 40 gottas?
Well, it used to be a paid spot, so we keep them
It is
short.
It is a different
you want me to make
world
them
now.
longer, yeah.
You do. It's the Bill Squire Friday Get Down.
Mary,
All right, I'm sorry I asked. She's got to get the hell out of here.
Gotta go. Right. Gotta beat traffic. See you later. Bye.
So,
There's no traffic in Chicago.
Anyway, that is true. The late great Murray Saul here at WMMS. That is an homage to him.
I was gonna say, do you think?
And we resurrected it on behalf of the weekend. What?
And then it kind of took on its own life with the galugga, galugga, galugga thing. And
Bill added his own
yeah.
thing. Galugga, galugga, galugga. That's what'll be his epitaph when that fateful day comes.
Do you think he'd be happy that his legacy is living on, or do you think he'd be upset that he wants some type of residual or something?
I think
Or
they
his
kind of
family?
unceremoniously booted him from the station back in the day, so he probably couldn't give a fat frog's ass one way or the other.
He's like, that's my intellectual property.
Yeah.
That's like me.
I don't know how intellectual it is, but I mean,
just saying,
you
that's
know,
like me
super intellectual.
it was.
I slave over these things.
He really does. I will call Bill or I'll text him on a Tuesday night, and he'll be like, "Leave me alone. I'm crafting the get down." And I'm like, "Wow, this guy really goes into it." As you might expect, it sounds like Murray Saul was kind of doing them off the top of his head between talking about square pool balls. But our own Bill Squire, he crafts them. If I told you the number of crumpled up pieces of paper that I've seen around the station as he fine tunes the get down each and every week, you wouldn't believe me. Ankle deep in crumpled up pieces of paper around here as he perfects the Friday get down. We have a lot of bureau chiefs in the great, great city of Nashville, Tennessee. And here's a lady who's talking about the weather there in Tennessee.
It's 80 degrees in February in Nashville. Does that mean that global warming's a thing, or is global warming for freezing? I just don't understand it. I think the Lord wanted to bring a little sunshine today, and he can decide what he wants. Maybe God is global warming. God decides what he wants, and today he wanted sunshine.
God wanted sunshine. That's what he wanted there in Nashville. Jesus is Nashville's weatherman, according to that lady, and he's 6 and 11 weeknights there.
Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is my friend. Jesus is a friend of mine. I have a friend in Jesus.
Listen, I think that it's great that she, what was it again? God wanted sunshine.
God
and
wanted
he's the one
sunshine.
who-
Also, I love how people are still hanging on to the global warming thing when everybody's been like, no, it's climate change. We're talking about climate change, not global warming. Global warming is what people said in the 90s.
Well, they don't care about either. So
Right,
why are
and
they
you're
gonna
not,
remember?
and even if we tried to explain the science to you, you'd be like, nah, Jesus just wanted to make it sunny. Well, Jesus, God, if God wants to mess with the weather, he usually does it to kill people. That's the way he likes to use the weather. He likes to flood the earth and kill everybody except for one family.
That's what the good book says.
That's the way God uses the weather. He's not putting sunshine out there to make you feel better in Nashville.
Jesus is my friend. Jesus is a friend of mine. I have a friend.
Although this song does make me feel pretty sunny.
Jesus is a
I
friend.
won't lie to you.
Definition of Christianity is this. This definitely ain't no Baptist church.
I hate hearing this song in here because then when I hear it on my sex playlist, it just
Ruins it.
throws me off.
Oh, honey, this is where I really get down to it, sweetie, when the bass solo comes in.
I'm gonna have to stand up on the bed and do the bass solo. Well, my girlfriend's like, "Hey, I thought we were having sex." I'm like, "Yeah, we'll get back to it in a second."
Slap in the bass. Slap in the bass.
And get the hands up high. Do the...
Also, listen, Nashville, so much for them trying to be the Hollywood of the Midwest or whatever, because they will be the first state in the union to ban drag. Queens, not racing. They have decided there in Tennessee there are 20 bills in 15 states that are also trying to do the same thing. But the state of Tennessee has passed a bill banning drag shows in public.
Oh my God!
It's those private drag shows that you really want to be
ones.
invited to.
I love the comments that was on this post. It was posted somewhere on my feed, and one drag queen was like, "Bitches, you ain't gonna stop me. I got a phone with a camera. I'm about to be doing these live shows." Like,
Yeah,
it's
you can't
like,
stop as much as you might
get my
not like
paper.
something for the dumbest of ideas. You just can't stop.
What's
What's
frustrating to me? Okay.
Cultural
ahead, Mary.
progress.
I was just going to ask what determines public or private? Like, is it selling tickets? Because technically, like, a bar is a private establishment,
But it's in public.
but it's a private
They can
Like-
make it
like
to a private. They say they
technically-
close
It's a
for a private event.
private business,
But
but
they, so
I don't
yeah,
know.
like they could close for a private event.
I have a
and sell
feeling that
tickets.
I have a feeling that if they have gone so far as to make a state law that they don't want it to happen, that they've probably haven't left a lot of room for loopholes. Maybe they have.
What makes
Who
no
knows?
sense to me is how the whole like charge behind this is that they're saying that this is how they groom children and stuff like that. But there's actual grooming going on out there, and a lot of it takes place in
Matt Gates' office.
church, political places, in all these other places, and they don't have anything planned for that. But they just seem to focus on this one section where it's not happening at all. And it's just
Well, it's part
like
of
you
but-
don't actually care about kids. Just say
Well, no.
you don't like gay people. Stop
Right.
Stop saying it's to try and protect kids because you don't care about protecting kids, or else you do something to try and
Well,
help them.
there's already laws in place where kids shouldn't be at a bar
Right.
after 10 p.m. watching a drag show anyways. There are some that are very, like,
Well, they
inappropriate.
do brunch shows.
Yeah, they do brunch shows and they do shows at libraries.
I know, but
and
that's
like
mainly
story
for, like,
but
Oh, libraries. I didn't think about that. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, but also do. But what they don't ever consider, or maybe they do and they don't think it's that much, is that there is a lot of money to be lost at a local or a state level. A lot of money to be lost by excluding the gay community, because there's a lot of revenue sources that come from these things, and it might seem silly to some people. But, it's like when everybody flips their lid because Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, "We want a divorce in this country." Now, people who know anything about economics would go, "Let's do that. And let's see how fun that is for you." Because red states, by and large, depend on tax revenue from blue states. We're the ones that keep you guys afloat. So when they talk about, nobody really thinks about the money. They just have a full head of steam for sticking it to gay people. And however they can get there is how they'll get there. So what are you going to do? Despite all evidence to the contrary that this is not a good idea, because you'll have companies pull out of things, or you'll say, we want no part of this kind of discrimination. These places like Tennessee, I guess they don't care. My only point is, when you're trying to make Nashville a big, big deal, which it already is. I mean, that's a city that's blowing up, has been for the last few years. Something like this, it's really, really, it goes beyond tone deaf. That means that you're plowing right past all of the economic impacts that could come from this. I mean, we're not talking billions of dollars, but you're talking a sizable amount of a state's revenue. And so in Tennessee, the first offense is going to be a misdemeanor, but the second would be a felony. So felony, drag, no,
Drag queen.
not even 3 strikes, 2 strikes. They said that it's people who have been fighting against this say that the language is very broad, pardon the pun, which is no surprise, because the more specific you get, the more ways you can get around it. They want it to be broad, so that people are confused to the point where they go, well, I just don't want to mess with it at all then, because I don't know if I'll get in trouble. So they don't differentiate between trans people and drag performers. So listen, man, these states like that, and again, Ohio is the Florida of the North, so I'm sure we're one of those states that's probably got a bill like this somewhere in the legislature. You're just shooting yourself in the foot, man. Big picture. We know you have a boner for gay people, but big picture, you just can't, it's just not a smart move to pull this kind of legislative nonsense.
And I hope people recognize that. I hope people recognize, this is not the people I'm going to vote for. Because it's just so ridiculous and so, there's so many real problems, and this isn't a problem.
Well, real problems are really hard to fix. If you create a problem and then invent a solution, it looks like you're doing something. Really looks like you're doing something. If you've fabricated a problem and then come along and say, hey, I got a fix for this. People were like, we were okay over here. We weren't. So, who knows? So kudos there to Tennessee, who've really thought this through. This is all I can imagine is that this is a huge blow to the Dolly Parton impersonator industrial complex.
I was going to say.
There in Tennessee. She cannot be too pleased about this.
What's the story about her entering a Dolly Parton drag lookalike contest and coming in third?
Right.
Is there I imagine there has to be like a big gay community in Nashville, right? Any major city, you're going to have like.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well,
but again, they're trying.
Anybody going there to like.
Nashville is trying to be like Austin, Texas. Okay, you got Texas, and then you have Austin, and Austin is its own thing, and that's kind of Nashville in Tennessee. You have Memphis too, but that's not so much. Nashville is trying to be like an entertainment capital, Grand Ole Opry and Music City. More and more people are moving there. I have friends that have moved there from L.A. Our buddy Steve Burns moved there. And so they really are trying to lean into that. And this is something that, listen, is it going to affect most people's lives? No. But it's just a really, really, I don't know. That kind of legislation is not a good move. It's not a good move because you're going to tie people up in litigation. I guarantee there are going to be people suing over this law. I'm sure they're already licking their chops.
But again, it's not really stopping it. If anything, it's going to, the people that want to support it will support these drag performers with their lives, like going on Instagram Live, or if they tour somewhere outside of the city.
That's my point. There are so many ways around this. Why even waste taxpayer money
because it's
in
politics.
Legislating these kinds of things?
It's just politics. It's playing to the base. The people that.
Well, that's literally what it is. But I mean, there are so many other ways that you can use those mechanisms to improve people's lives rather than taking a group and trying to make it really hard for them.
But it makes money for this law makes money for both sides.
No, it won't make. Who's it going to make money for?
The people that presented this bill, the legislators who presented the bill, they'll earn money from their base, and then the people that are against this bill, you said there's going to be a bunch of lawsuits, that brings money into the state. It costs money to sue people.
Yeah, but it doesn't go into the state's coffers if people. What I'm saying is, this is one of those situations you can follow. You are right. You can follow everything back to money. You can always follow a money trail. Something like this, though, when you have people that are just trying to stick it to another group of people, they go beyond money. They go, I don't care. I want to stick it to this group of people. And so you have a bunch of other states that want to do the same thing. I mean, down in Florida, if Ron DeSantis was smart, he would bend over for Disney. But in many ways, he's not. It's more important to him to, I guess he thinks he's sticking it to the libs, to F with Disney. Doesn't matter to him that they bring in $1 billion in revenue, every 5 minutes or what. Doesn't matter to him. It's more important to him that he screw with a group of people he doesn't like.
But in his
right, and instead of just not attending these things, okay, let's hear Poundcake's defense of Ron DeSantis.
It's not in defense of Ron DeSantis.
You said in his defense.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just giving another side. Is it okay for a corporation like Disney, as massive as it is, bringing in as much income as it does? Does that then make it infallible?
No, infallible. Would be the word. Yeah. No, but again, I don't know what happened to the party of small government, let companies do what they want to do. Doesn't matter, because it's more important to they've gone beyond that. It's not a rational decision to say, hey, let's F with Disney in Florida, where you have constituents that work for the company. I mean, it's just not a rational decision.
Well, but I'm just saying, if that's the case, as much income as it brings in, the president of Disney or whoever's running the site will be more powerful than the government of Florida. And you can't necessarily have that either.
Well, I don't know about that. All I know is that it's not a rational decision. It's an ideological decision. And those kinds like that are being made in every state in the country.
Yeah, but they've been made not necessarily with gay people or drag shows. Ideological decisions have been made since the beginning of government.
Yes.
I mean, the whole
But usually,
ban on abortion is an ideological decision.
It is, but usually to some end, usually to some ideological end. For people to go, drag queens are groomers, that's so far off it's nonsense. That's not an ideological end. That's creating a problem and then faking a solution to something that so, yeah, if somebody was like, hey, I have a good faith argument against this, here's why I don't think this should be this, and then you go about it. But people going, drag queens are making our children turn gay. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. And it's not like this is happening in, Boo-Foo, Tennessee. It's the whole state, and that includes Nashville. So I don't know. I guarantee Ohio has got something like this.
These
on the
aren't
books
mandatory drag shows. These aren't things that people are forced to go to. This is people putting on events and then them saying you can't put on those events. Where does it stop? You talk about cancel culture. They're trying to use the government to cancel a whole kind of form of entertainment.
My only concern is the future of Owisha Bitchwood.
She retired.
She
did retire, but she must return to the stage to show her solidarity with the men of Nashville, Tennessee.
Only the Republicans, if they book me privately.
There you go.
I'll show up.
I'll find him on Venmo. I got a break here. Hey, if you want yellow card tickets, they are going back on the road to celebrate 20 years. That'll make you feel old. Of Ocean Avenue. So if you want to see them, I'll hook you up coming back. 35192 if you want to text.
It's the Alan Cox